I'm Michelle from Legal Suite, and in this webinar we are going to have a look at how to create transfer matters from a sectional title register matter. Now please note that I'm using an existing sectional title register matter that I've already captured, and for the creation of my transfers I'm also using existing parties that I've set up in the address book. And if you need any assistance on either of these, please have a look at our collection of webinars on how to open a sectional title register matter and also how to create parties in the address book. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my sectional title matter, and I'm going to go into the DocGen database icon, and I'm going to go to the sections option on the left hand side. Now these are all my sections and these are all my various exclusive use areas. Now what I need to do is I need to link my exclusive use areas to my sections if applicable. So here's section 1, and in my exclusive use areas section, as you can see, I have parking bays and I have garden areas. So what I'm going to do in my little scenario, section 1 is also attached to exclusive use parking 1 and exclusive use garage 1. So I'm going to go to parking 1, and at the section number I'm going to click on the drop down and I'm going to assign this exclusive use area to the section. I'm going to do the same with parking area 2. I'm going to assign it to section 2, and so on and so forth up to number 5. So there we go. Parking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 assigned to section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 respectively. Okay, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with my garden areas. So double click on garden 1, I'm going to assign that to section 1, garden area 2 to section 2, and I'm just going to go up to section number 5. Right, so there we go. Okay. Right, so in our first example, I am going to show you how to create a single transfer matter with multiple sections attached to it. So say for example your developer is selling 3 sections in one transfer to the same buyer. So what we can do is we can click on 1, 2, 3, right click, and here at the bottom of the menu we have either create a single matter, which will create a single transfer matter with these 3 sections attached to it. The other alternative is to create multiple matters, which will be a single matter for each transfer. But let's have a look at creating a single matter with multiple sections. So we click on it, and what the program is telling us, it's created a new transfer matter with sections 1, 2, and 3. And if I say OK, the program is then in the background busy generating the transfer matter for me and will shortly display it on my desktop. So let's just give it a moment to create the transfer matter. Okay. I'm going to say save. And it says to me, do you want to display the properties linked to the sectional title transfer? I'm going to say yes, and effectively what the program will now do is filter my screen to show the sectional title register and the transfers that have come from it. So here is my transfer, but bear in mind we need to add the buyer, and if we go into the parties for the matter, you will see that the client and the seller is my developer, and all I now need to do is go and add a buyer. So I click on the insert button, it takes me to my address book. I'm going to grab my purchaser, I'm going to say select and say OK, and I now have my buyer assigned to the matter. And if I close that screen and go into the DocGen and to the property, you will see that I now have 3 sections in one transaction. So I'm just going to move up my section 1 so they follow 1, 2, 3 on my title deed. Now your other option is to create single transfers from multiple tag matters. So if I come back into my DocGen, highlighting my sectional title matter, back into my DocGen database, Again, I go to my sections, and you can now see that sections 1, 2, and 3 have been assigned under this same transfer matter. Now, sections 4 and 5, I'm going to do the same thing, but instead I'm going to create separate transfers for each section, although they are going to the same buyer. So I right-click, and I say create multiple matters. The program has then told me that it's created the matters. I say close, I click on the Save button. Do I wish to display the properties linked to the sectional transfer matter? Yes, I do. And here you can see that section 4 and 5 have been created as separate single matters. And as with the previous transfer that we created, we would need to go into the parties to the matter and assign a buyer. So as with the previous example, I'm going to insert, I'm going to select my buyer, say OK, and I now have my buyer. And if I go into the DocGen for this transfer matter, I go to the property screen, there is my single section, and exactly the same for this matter here. Parties to the matter, insert at the party screen, select a buyer, OK. I now have my buyer assigned to the matter. I can close that screen, and if I go back into the DocGen to the property, it is brought through the property. And that is how you create either multiple properties attached to a single transfer or multiple transfer matters from single sections.